Hello friends, my name is Justin Waterfield. I work at the Toronto Bloor Street Long and McQuaid store. I'm here today to talk to you about the Gibson Les Paul Classic. Now, the Les Paul Classic has some features that are really unique to this specific model that you're not going to find anywhere else in the product lineup from Gibson USA. But first, let's talk about what it has in common with everything else in the Les Paul lineup. So we have a mahogany body and a mahogany neck and a maple top. This is not figured maple, this is just plain maple, which I personally prefer. We've got a rosewood fingerboard and two humbucker pickups, each with their own volume and tone knobs. That's the formula for a proper Les Paul. The other thing that you get when you buy a Gibson USA is a nitrocellulose finish. This is a really, really thin finish. It lets the wood breathe and resonate properly, and it's going to age really nicely over time. Now, what does the Les Paul Classic have that the other models in the USA lineup do not? First and most obvious, that's going to make the most impact to you as a player, is the neck. This has what is called Gibson's slim taper neck. So this is the thinnest neck that you can get from them. Thinnest in the sense that it's the smallest front to back like this. So all Gibson necks are the same width across the nut, but in terms of how deep they are, in terms of how much they fill up your hand when you play them, this is very, very slim, very easy to get around. The next thing is the pickups. So these are what they call 60s Burstbuckers. And if you know anything about Gibson's pickups, the Burstbuckers are recreations of the old PAF style humbuckers. So they're very nuanced, very sort of mid-rangey, very detailed pickups. These are the 60s version where they swap out the magnets for something that's a little bit brighter and a little bit bouncier. And it definitely gives you the feeling and the flavor of something later into the 60s as opposed to earlier in the 50s when they were a little bit more spongy and soft. The last thing, and perhaps the one that's going to make the most profound impact in the sound, is the control setup. So like I said, we have separate volume and tone controls for each of the two pickups. But each one of these is a push-pull pot, which is really cool and really useful. So on the volume controls, we have coil taps. What this does is it reconfigures each pickup for a brighter sound, almost like a single coil type sound. And you can get that sort of bright, jangly, really expressive, really detailed sound that you wouldn't otherwise get from humbuckers. So this is really cool if you are the type of player who wants to get different sounds out of one guitar without actually changing that guitar. Very useful in a studio setup, but also in a live setup as well. The neck tone control will pull out for an out-of-phase sound. So when you're in the bridge and the neck position, it won't do anything there. But as soon as you throw it to the middle position, all of a sudden, this out-of-phase option gives you a really thin, nasally, kind of squawky kind of sound. It sounds exactly like the venerated Peter Green. And I'll show you what that sounds like in a second. The last tone control on the bridge gives you what I consider the Neil Young mod. So on Neil Young's black guitar, he has a switch that basically takes the pickups and bypasses the volume and tone controls and spits it straight out to the output jack. What this does, in effect, is give you a huge, huge boost of signal. So you can use this as a solo boost. You can just have this up all the time and just be rocking out and hitting your amp that much harder. Before we get to some playing, let's talk about the signal chain. So I have the Les Paul Classic that's going straight into this Hughes & Kettner Deluxe 40. This guy is going into the 212 cabinet, which is being mic'd up with a Lewitt condenser. We're also taking a DI out of the back of the amp, and they're being mixed together in post. So here's the sound of the Les Paul with all the push-pulls down. So this is just straight humbucker mode. In the middle position, I'm going to flick to the bridge, I'm going to flick to the neck, and you're going to hear what these 60s Burstbuckers sound like. Now let's hear the bridge pickup with the coil tap up. So I'm going to play it in humbucker mode, going to pull the switch, and then you're going to hear the tapped sound. And let's do the same thing with the neck humbucker. Now let's throw the guitar into the middle position again, so both pickups are active, both in humbucker mode, and I'm going to pull the out of phase switch, and you're going to hear a huge difference right away. Last, we're going to take a look at the bypass switch. So for this demo, I'm going to be on the bridge pickup alone, rocking out, and then I'm going to pull the switch for some extra juice. Here we go. Thank you so much for joining me on this quick video. Get yourself down to your local Long & McQuaid store and try out a Gibson Les Paul Classic for yourself. Until next time, see you later.
Long & McQuaid, where the music begins.